Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a powerful climbing team for the Halloween Cup that I had amazing results with. This team is built around Runerigus. Runerigus has amazing coverage in this meta with Shadow Claw, Brutal Swing, and Rock Tomb, and due to its unique typing and coverage, it is a rare Pokemon that can completely destroy the meta core of Shadow Golurk plus Carbink. For the lead, I'm using Tinkaton. I have Runerigus as the safe switch, and as the closer, the ever-powerful Guzzlord. I use Dragon Claw on Guzzlord, but you could very easily use Sludge Bomb if you wanted to. So without further ado, let's hop onto the matches. I'm going to pick up a pretty okay lead in game number 1, leading Tinkaton into Shadow Scizor. Now Shadow Scizor, its energy is completely walled, so as Tinkaton, I'm very comfortable over farming. The fact that my opponent played to the CMP tie is great for me, as now I can fire off this Bulldoze and then look to send in the Runerigus. You can never switch a Runerigus into a Scizor because you'll always be behind by a turn and therefore lose your pacing advantage. But I'm more than happy to go for a full farm down. My opponent realizes they're not getting another move, so they will pivot out, and out comes Nidoking. Nidoking, these Mud Slaps will add up quite a bit, but with the Brutal Swing spam on Runerigus, I'm going to be able to get my opponent quite low. Brutal Swing number 2 is going to force a shield out on my opponent, and on top of that, they're going to be forced to throw a big move. A Poison Fang will not knock out due to Runerigus' incredible typing, so they're forced to waste all their energy by going for a Stone Edge. I send in Tinkaton, firing off the Bulldoze. If they shield, I will survive the Mud Slap and be able to switch, but they no shield, and in the back, they have Shadow Golurk. Shadow Golurk is an incredibly powerful Pokemon in this meta, and I have a pretty clear win condition, which is don't let them catch. So I'm just going to farm past the move. There's the catch attempt. We get the farm down of Scizor, and that is going to be a win. As Golurk has the back-to-back Shadow Punches, so if they stayed in and threw Shadow Punch, they would have just won the game, but I had to make the hard read that they were going to go for the catch, and by doing so, that's going to win me the game as Brutal Swing easily knocks out Golurk. Hopping into game number 2, Tinkaton into Shadow Golurk, a very bad lead. I save switch into Runerigus, and the thing to note is my opponent is not switching out. The vast majority of Golurk teams are core broken to smithereens by Runerigus. Opponent now sends out a Volt Switch Fortress, and I am very confident it's going to be Carbink in the back. And if it's Carbink, then I should just be in a completely winning position because I'm going to be able to win switch here. They have a Volt Switch Fortress into a Runerigus. My opponent ends up baiting with a Rock Tomb. I'll throw my Rock Tomb right before their next Earthquake, but they end up settling for a Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, not going to do much, but the fact that this is what they switched in tells me they just have absolutely nothing for Runerigus. Runerigus, even at -2, Rock Tomb will pick up the knockout. That is not a Carbink, but it is an anti-flyer. It's the Dedenne in the back, so having switch advantage will absolutely win me this game. In comes Golurk, I respond with the Guzzlord, and I do plan to just go for a double shield farm down. The Dedenne does have some energy, but even though I'm not running Sludge Bomb, the threat of a Sludge Bomb will still be able to get Dedenne's final shield, and then from there, Tinkaton will very easily win the zeros. Dedenne has already taken quite a bit of damage as well. Dedenne is not a tanky Pokemon. It's able to artificially buff up its bulk thanks to Parabolic Charge, but before the Parabolic Charges, even a Brutal Swing will do quite a bit. So the Brutal Swing is going to land. My opponent realizes they just don't have the health to take on the Tinkaton, so they will resign the match. Picking up a good lead in the next match, leading into a Azumarill, but a Mud Slap Shadow Grimer presents a bit of an issue. I think I should have bailed into the Runerigus instantly here, but honestly, I just didn't really have a game plan set up mentally for if I ran into a Grimer, so I'm very slow on the switch. I get a Bulldoze debuff, which is nice, but I've already lost a ton of HP from the Tinkaton, so that's definitely not ideal. Brutal Swing will be able to deliver the knockout, and now back in comes Azumarill. The good news for me is even though Azumarill will get a big farm down, Tinkaton is a wall to Azumarill's charge attacks. Ice Beam, Play Rough, neither one is going to hit particularly hard. I'm going to fall just short of a second Rock Tomb, but even a Brutal Swing, all chip damage will be helpful. So the Brutal Swing is going to land. In the back is Shadow Nidoking, and with a quick switch into the Guzzlord, I'm able to outpace. Shadow Nidoking is incredibly oppressive, but Guzzlord is actually able to hold up against the relentless onslaught of Nidoking's Mud Slap plus Poison Fang combination quite well, due to the fact that Guzzlord just outpaces it. Guzzlord is going to be firing off the Brutal Swing. That's going to be no shielded. And now I'm going to look to shield up and go for a farm down. I have to preserve HP on the Tinkaton. I will get the farm down. I have enough for the Sludge Bomb, but obviously I'm not running it. So I switch into the Tinkaton. My opponent should know that I have the energy for a Sludge Bomb banked. And if they do, then they should be no shielding this Play Rough. So I'm going to be firing off the Play Rough with the Tinkaton. Play Rough gets shielded, and that is actually going to lose me this game. Oh no. I believe there was one game in this run that I ended up losing because I had Dragon Claw, and another one that I won because I had Dragon Claw. So this is the one where I lose because I had Dragon Claw. Even with a Bulldoze debuff, Brutal Swing just will not knock out. Sludge Bomb and Dragon Claw are the same energy cost. So if I have Sludge Bomb, I'm able to win this game, but unfortunately I do not. And that costs me, as I don't have the damage to knock out the low health Azumarill. Great lead in the next match, Tinkaton into Carbink. Opponent save switches into Nidoking, and again, as long as you only throw one Fairy Wind before you switch, you can always outpace. The big thing that I've learned about playing against Nidoking in this cup is that no Nidoking knows how to click their Stone Edge. Honestly, I think Stone Edge is not the play on Nidoking. I think Earth Power is substantially better, but if you're able to successfully call a Poison Fang bait, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Nidoking is going to be going down shields for switch, and I'm going to be bringing in Tinkaton, because if no one's running Earth Power, then their energy is completely walled. I'm fully expecting it's going to be the Carbink Golurk core, and if it is, then I should be in a fantastic position to close out the game with Runerigus. I'm expecting them to bring in the Golurk, but they bring in the Carbink. So maybe it's not the Golurk. I mean, Golurk wouldn't appreciate a Play Rough either. Play Rough lands, in comes Runerigus, and there it is. It's the Golurk, and Runerigus is core breaking once again. Runerigus just completely shuts down Carbink. Golurk is getting absolutely shredded as well, and I will get to take the knockout here with a Brutal Swing. Opponent realizes there is not a win con, and they will concede the match. We move to the next match, and we've got a blast from the past as Tinkaton leads into Trevenant. Trevenant obviously did get its pacing back this season with the rework of Seed Bomb. They're not going to be throwing Seed Bomb in this matchup, though. It's going to be a hard-hitting Shadow Ball connecting onto Tinkaton. Tinkaton, I'm going to be firing off the Play Rough and then just looking to send in the Runerigus. In comes Runerigus again, a matchup where I would much prefer to see Trev with my back Pokemon, but you can never switch Runerigus into a Trevenant, as they'll throw before you're able to get your move, and then you're always going to lose your pacing advantage. Opponent sends out Florges. This is an incredibly good bait out for me, because obviously Florges would absolutely destroy my Guzzlord. Chilling Water is going to land, Switch Clock will be up pretty soon, but not up quite yet. So I will fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb is going to connect. I'm farming quite a bit of energy. I tried to go for the catch, and unfortunately, I did not get it. I need this energy if I'm going to knock out the Florges, but I'm going to get outpaced. So I switch into the Tinkaton to absorb this heavily debuffed Chilling Water. They're going to send in Trevenant, and this is exactly what I needed to happen. Not only are the timers desynced, but this is free farm for Guzzlord. So I can bring in the Guzzlord and just look to farm all the way down. My opponent ends up throwing on 5 here, just wanting to land some damage before I throw my Brutal Swing, but that's just going to set up a massive farm down. So now I exit up so much energy, in comes Florges, but their switch timer is not yet up. By me catching earlier, I can take advantage of the desync timers, take the knockout, but in the back, that's not a Nidoking, that's a Clodsire. Now Clodsire, not seen too commonly because Nidoking is better in this meta, but Clodsire is just able to absorb Guzzlord energy in a way that unfortunately Nidoking cannot. So I fire off the Rock Tomb to debuff them, they go for the Earthquake, it does not knock out, but because I have Dragon Claw, it lost me a previous game, but it's going to win me this one. As Dragon Claw back to back will be enough damage to take the knockout onto the Clodsire. I think if I ran the team back, I'd probably run Sludge Bomb, but as you see in that game, Dragon Claw won me the game. We've got a battle of fairy types in the next match, Tinkaton into Dedenne. Now it might seem like a very weird play to catch out of a lead when you have a Guzzlord in the back and they lead a fairy, but it's all part of the plan. I just want to try and waste their energy. My opponent wins charge check priority with their Runerigus, Brutal Swing will not knock out. But for some reason they're on Sand Tomb. I don't think Sand Tomb is the play in this meta. I think you really want to go for Brutal Swing, and you really want to go for Rock Tomb. I'm going to be going down a shield to make sure that I win switch advantage, because I need to realign and put the Tinkaton on Dedenne. I exit on very low HP, but with a charge attack loaded, and my opponent sends back in Dedenne. Dedenne going to take some pretty significant damage from the Rock Tomb, and they will get a farm down. But now I can send back in the Tinkaton and just look to overfarm. So even though I did give up Switch, I made a play to win back Switch advantage because giving up Switch was purely just to waste their energy. Now, up energy, I'll be able to take the knockout with Bulldoze. In the back is Greninja, and Guzzlord is about to feast. Honestly, I didn't need to throw this Bulldoze. That was more so just out of reflex than anything, but in comes Guzzlord, and Greninja will resign the match. A familiar lead in the next match, Tinkaton into Shadow Scizor, and my opponent immediately save switches into Azumarill. I wonder if maybe they were trying to predict me instantly switching out, but the Tinkaton Scizor matchup is not bad. As we saw earlier, if they stay in, it's honestly pretty comfortable to play it out with the Tinkaton, and then once they've thrown their energy, then look to pivot into the Runerigus. So Azumarill, they're not going to have an amazing time in this matchup whatsoever, as Tinkaton will get to fire off the back-to-back play roughs, and Azumarill is now deep into the red HP. Azumarill overfarms, they end up throwing on alignment, which guarantees that I will get a one-turn switch if I look to switch out. They bring back in the Scizor, but Scizor will be met with a loaded Bulldoze. Bulldoze lands, I do get the 50-50 debuff, so a bit of good luck does go my way. Now this is going to set up a full farm down for the Runerigus, so that's an incredibly favorable debuff for me. Sometimes debuffs don't matter a lot. In that case, it mattered a ton, because now I exit with so much energy. In comes Azumarill, I'm farming this down. Azumarill, oh no, they live on 1 HP. I can't even see that health bar. In the back, they have Nidoking, and I'm just going to debuff this Pokemon with Rock Tombs. Rock Tomb is going to be shielded. I'm going for Rock Tomb number 2. I don't even care if they call it. I just want to put this Nidoking's attack as low as I possibly can, and now out comes Guzzlord. Nidoking normally so oppressive, but at -2 attack, Poison Fang plus Mud Slap is an absolute joke. Guzzlord farms up to the back-to-back Brutal Swings, and Nidoking is in trouble. Brutal Swing is going to be shielded. I farm up, watching for the catch. They do not get it, and now it is Dragon Claw time. Brutal Swing would have taken the knockout, but Dragon Claw definitely guarantees it, and we're able to take the win. Picking up a pretty nice lead in the next match, Tinkaton into Greninja. Now, even though this is a good matchup for Tinkaton, I would always prefer if the Greninja switched out, because I have a much stronger answer in the back with Guzzlord. They do switch out, they save switch a Charjabug, which is an act of bravery in a ground-type meta, and they're about to get absolutely hard-walled by Runerigus. Considering there are Pokemon like Golurk, like Nidoking out there, I don't think Charjabug is a Pokemon that I would be save switching. Even if you are running Crunch, Crunch is not going to help you a lot versus a Pokemon like Nidoking. Well, since they're stuck throwing X Scissors, I'm able to absorb all of their energy and take the knockout. Back in comes Greninja. Greninja is going to take a lot of damage from this Rock Tomb. Greninja is going to no-shield. They're switching out. In the back is Scizor, and all the energy that I've stored on Tinkaton is going to be devastating here. Brutal Swing actually gets no-shielded, and I will immediately combo with the Tinkaton. My opponent's biggest problem in this game is they now have no good way of getting through the Tinkaton HP. They no-shield a Bulldoze because at this point they know it's over. Even if they shield up the Scizor is just simply too low. In comes Greninja, and my opponent will resign the match. Speaking of Nidoking, and there it is. Not a great lead, so I will save switch into Runerigus. Runerigus going to be answered with an Astonished Klefki. What a cool pick from my opponent. Klefki, a Pokemon that is ranked very highly in the Cup. I think I've only ever seen it twice, and it was the same trainer. I have played them yesterday, and now I played them today. I try for the Rock Tomb, but neither move would be able to pick up the knockout, and I bring back in the Tinkaton. Now, Klefki should be on Flash Cannon as its coverage move, as Flash Cannon will allow it to hit for devastating damage. Flash Cannon is going to land. I'm going to farm up quite a bit of energy. Maybe if I had just thrown the Brutal Swing, I could have gotten the Fairy Wind farm down, but either way, I'm probably going to be in trouble. Back in comes the Nidoking. Nidoking will take some pretty nice damage from the Bulldoze if they no-shield, which they do, and now it's Guzzlord time. In comes Guzzlord. I have to hope the Guzzlord will have a type advantage in the back. Poison Fang is going to land. Oh, it's Carbink in the back, and I have never top left it faster. Hopping into the final match, leading Tinkaton into Greninja once again. Greninja, will they strike first with the Hydro Cannon? No, they're going to massively overfarm. No one will ever no-shield here because they have so much loaded energy, so it's an incredibly safe Bulldoze bait. They pivot out into Fortress, and I get to respond with the Runerigus. And at this point, this game should already be over. They're banking on a ton of energy on the Greninja being the win con, but I can always win switch advantage with Runerigus into Fortress and then just put that on the Guzzlord, and the energy will have nowhere to go. The thing that could complicate this is if they have a very strong Pokemon into Tinkaton in the back, and therefore Guzzlord does get overloaded. My opponents, they're firing Sand Tomb after Sand Tomb, but Runerigus still standing strong, firing off the Brutal Swing and being able to take the knockout. In comes Greninja. Greninja will be able to knock out even just with a Night Slash, and now the trap is revealed as out comes Guzzlord. In the back, they have a Clodsire. I was expecting it to be a Nidoqueen, but Clodsire works better for me as I can just fire off Bulldozes. My opponent realizes even debuff or no debuff, they cannot win that game, so they will concede the match. All in all, this team worked out amazingly for me. I believe I went about a 2/3 win rate with it. I believe it was 10 wins and 5 losses. I really felt like outside of maybe 1 to 2 of those losses, I had play in those losses. I just couldn't quite execute as well as I needed to. I wanted to try and build a climbing team that was a little bit more anti-meta. We already know how powerful Pokemon like Shadow Nidoqueen are. Shadow Nidoqueen is arguably probably the best Pokemon in this meta. So I wanted to try and go a little bit anti-meta to see if I could build a team that could fight back. Initially, the team build was Tinkaton, Runerigus, and I had Galarian Moltres. But I didn't end up liking that team quite as well, just because with my playstyle, I tend to prefer more ABC style teams rather than ABB. Whereas for this particular team, since the Guzzlord and the Runerigus, the only shared weakness that they have is Ice, and Ice is not a common typing in this meta, then I can play it more as an ABC flexible style team, where if it's a Galarian Moltres in the back, then I do actually have to pivot out to try and check for a Greninja. So if you don't have a Guzzlord, you probably could just put a Galarian Moltres in there and it would work fine. It's more so just personal preference on my part that I'm not as big of a fan of ABB style teams, because I feel like as I continue to evolve and hopefully improve at this game, I really feel like the ABC or XAB ends up fitting my playstyle a lot better. But enough yapping about me, let's talk about Runerigus. Runerigus, oh my goodness, it is unbelievable in this meta. We know just from the typing with how strong Golurk is, it's an unbelievably good typing in this meta. But what I love about Runerigus is it is the ground ghost that can completely, single-handedly shut down Carbink plus Golurk cores. Golurk loses all evens, Carbink loses all evens. There just isn't a way out for those cores. So even if you end up leading Tinkaton into Golurk, having something like the Runerigus that you can safely switch in, because the most common team is Golurk, Fortress, and Carbink. And I was looking at Pokemon that could beat all three, and the answer to that is basically just Runerigus. So I know Runerigus, it isn't the easiest Pokemon to get. I believe it has an evolution requirement that requires finishing some raids. Luckily, I've had a Runerigus evolved for a while, so I just threw it on the team, and honestly, the team worked out amazingly. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.